Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Fictional Character Motivation, where I watch movies, glean stuff from movies that you can apply to your daily life. I'm your host, Quan, and I want to apologize for my tardiness. I know I usually probably get a video out between Monday to Tuesday. Usually it's been Monday, but I want to apologize for my tardiness on this one. With that being said, the movie of the day that we'll be talking about will be Disney's Tarzan, on what happens when you master yourself and your surroundings, and on how to master yourself and surroundings. Hope everyone's having an awesome day, awesome start to the day, and here we go. This is Tarzan came out in 1999. Orphaned Tarzan grows up in the remote African wilderness, raised by the gentle gorilla Kala. When a British expedition enters the jungle, Tarzan encounters the beautiful Jane and recognizes that, like her, he's human. Falling in love with Jane, Tarzan is torn between embracing civilization and staying with his gorilla family, which becomes threatened by ruthless hunter Clayton. This movie had a good feel to it, besides a very nice and inspiring soundtrack. I don't know if you like that. If you've heard the soundtrack, it's very uplifting in a way and very upbeat. And in some parts romantic. But the important take from this movie is how Tarzan adapted so quickly and still adapted throughout the whole movie. As a child, not native to the area, he's beginning to know how to talk. He's beginning to know how to move efficiently. In some cases, efficiently. What to do or what not to do in the wilderness. We see him stumble. We see him make some mistakes. And had some close calls with death. Then we see him into early adulthood. Even though years have passed, he has become now a different animal. His body is toned, muscular, and agile. He's mastered the art of swinging vines, surfing moss covered branches, and can completely mimic and understand all animals. He took down the villainous jaguar, the big cat that took out his family, and almost his second mom, Kala. With a weapon, with strategy, using his surroundings and his adaptability to take out the big cat, and he uses those same skills to take out another opponent, one of his toughest opponents, Clayton, the opponent with the big gun. Because of him being master of himself and his surroundings, it gave him opportunities that he couldn't have got if he didn't happen to try and try and try again multiple times. Tarzan is pretty much the product of what happens when you pretty much decide to adapt or die, pretty much. And in showing in this movie, and in similar movies like Tarzan, he adapted so well that he gained some benefits. Even in um, the Legend of Tarzan, the pretty much live action movie that was out, I want to say 2, 3 years ago. even though that wasn't the best adaptation, especially with fake gorillas and whatnot. But even with that adaptation, you see that after a few years of him being civilized, he still has adaptations from him being raised in the wilderness. He still has that overpowering strength that even a normal person couldn't deal with. Most of the time, a regular person couldn't deal with. He still has the ability to swing on vines and to know which ones to swing on and which ones not to swing on. He still had that animal connection, whether it be with a cheetah, a lion, or communicating with a crocodile. And like I said, when you choose to decide to adapt instead of give up, when you choose to decide to adapt and learn and continue on instead of walking away, you may gain more benefits than you see fit. So, how can we master ourselves and our surroundings like Tarzan? As usual, I have a couple of ideas. First one is push your body to work at its best and try different things safely. Tarzan's everyday life, he was doing this. When he was playing with, um, when he was playing with his friends, he wasn't playing with normal human friends. He was playing with gorillas, and as people, everyone should know, gorillas are twice as strong as a human. In fact, it's been known that a baby infant is, as soon as a baby gorilla turns maybe 3 or 4 years old, it is literally able to break bones. That is how strong they can be. And he pretty much adapted to that. That was his everyday life of just playing with friends that are stronger than him, playing with, playing in environments that were highly dangerous. So he had to be aware. Playing, experimenting with certain things to where he may have fallen a couple times, but eventually he got it. So pushing your body to work at its best and try different things safely. I would say safely because I don't want you trying to swing it on vines and then fall. That's not good. But start with rope climbing. Start with something secure. And then maybe, just maybe, I'm not saying that, but push yourself just a bit. Push yourself just enough to where you want to do it and don't want to give up a little bit. So, second thing I think we can take from this is know and learn how to communicate to the people around you: family, friends, coworkers. We get this from Tarzan's mimicking abilities. In the beginning, he didn't understand a couple people here and there. He actually had to start from scratch. But after a while, he could talk to almost any animal. He can understand almost any animal. What I would suggest with you is know how to communicate, know and learn how to communicate to your friends, to your family, to your coworkers. And I'm just not saying just do small talk. I'm just saying get to know them. Get to know what their style of communication is. Get to know them when is a good time to talk and when is a bad time to talk. Get to know them on a little bit of a personal level. Doing this, of course, as usual, has shown that this benefits everybody, including yourself. This even goes without saying when you're trying to learn how to communicate to someone who you do not know or you want to get to know. If you start off the day talking with the person that serves your coffee, serves your breakfast, gives you money, eventually you'll become a natural conversationalist. And that is a very good advantage, because if you know how to communicate to people around you, you'll eventually know how to communicate with people who are not around you. You can observe, you may even look at somebody as like, this person is acting and talking like this friend of mine. So I'm going to try to talk and react to them like this. And that's where experimenting comes in. And sometimes you may be wrong, but sometimes you may be right. And you may realize that, oh, they're just like this person, only with this and this and this. It happens. And of course, this even goes with studies trying to learn a new language. There's sometimes where you can learn language from an app, but there are other times where you may need to just go to that place and learn the language from heart, and do the research, apply it with someone who's willing to talk with you back to back, and then eventually you may speak more fluid than the people who try to learn it from an app. I've heard studies that can happen, and that happens often. Keep that in mind. And the last thing I'll give you to take away from this is how to master your surroundings and master yourself is always experiment and keep learning. When Tarzan learned how to communicate with animals, when Tarzan learned his surroundings, when Tarzan mastered his body, that's when the British expedition came in. And then he had to learn something else. He had to learn English. He had to learn human culture, British culture, and learn how to stand and learn how to present himself in a way to where it came across to the humans that he was friendly, that he was good, that he was able to talk. And with that, that was pretty much him still experimenting, still learning. And I advise you to always do the same. Usually, with learning and experimenting, you always want to keep doing that. Even in your craft, there's always something you can work on in your craft. There's a thing with martial artists that I want to tag on with certain things that when you're sparring with someone who is lesser than you, and when I mean less skilled, then instead of just mauling them to the ground and make sure they have a not so decent experience, try to help them out, give them spaces, lead them through. Or if you don't want to do that, work on a couple of techniques that you don't really work on that you might have a use. Because once you add, because the purpose of sparring really should be to hunt down, should be to master your techniques, your reactions, your skills. Go from thought to applicability to mastery. And sometimes that could be done with even a technique that you think, I don't like that technique as much. Okay, cool. Use it in sparring. It may help out. It may give you some leeway. It may give you. It may. Yeah. It may put you ahead of that certain person you do spar with that always happens to stomp you. And that's just in martial arts terms. This can be applied with a lot of things. This can be applied at work. This can be applied with a hobby. This can be applied in a lot of places. Fitness, diets, whatever you feel. This can be applied in multiple places. You just have to learn and experiment. But I hope that helped you out. I hope you gleaned something took something that stuck out with you, please let me know by following, by subscribing, by leaving a comment, whatever you feel, liking. Please let me know. I'm your host, Quan, and hope you have an awesome day. Deuces.